something called truth table. A truth table is just a table showing the operations for various operators. Like this is the truth table for AND. So since we always have two inputs, that is a 0 and a 1, these are 2. Okay? So for you to get the truth table, is always is 2 raised to the number of inputs. Like in this case, input is 2. It will give you 4. 4. So for AND gate, so we have 0, 0, 1, 1, then 0, 1, 0, 1 as an alternation. Okay? Now, remember we said AND, an AND operator is like a multiplication. So if you multiply 0 and 0, you get 0. 0 and a 1, you get 0. A 1 and a 0, you get 0. But a 1 and a 1, you get 1. Just like the normal arithmetic operation. 1 times 1 will give you 1. 1 times 0 will give you 0. 0 times 1 will give you 0. And 0 times 0 will give you 0. So this is the truth table for an AND operator. Now, these logical operators are normally used to test two or more expressions together. Like in this case, I've tried to declare some three variables, A, B, and result. Okay. So I've also initialized A with 10 and B with 5, and the result is left alone like that. Okay. Now I'm trying to explain the AND operator. Now you can see the AND operator here, but we have two expressions. Okay. I said these logical operators can be used to combine two or more expressions. Two or more expressions. Okay. The reason why we are explaining this because we are going to see how to write a program to determine the bigger number between three numbers. So far, what you wrote is just a simple program to determine the bigger number between two numbers. But now, if there are three, what are you supposed to do? Or for us to do that, you need to come back and learn about something about logical operators. So you can see one side is an expression, another side is an expression. I dwell a lot about this, the difference between that and this, because this is an assignment operator, and it's normally used when you are declaring variables, meaning that what is on the right is assigned to what is on the left. But the second one is equivalent to equal sign. So if A is 10 and B is 5, and then you're given A equals to B. Is this true? Is it true that A is equal to B? Is it true?
No.
If it is not true, then the result will be 0. Normally, if the answer is true, for true is normally given as a 1. A 1 means true, but a false is always a 0. So like in this case, it's not true, it is false, that A is not equal to B, because A is 10 and B is 5. So the resulting, the outcome of this will be a 0. Then AND, this AND, the value of B is 5 and A is 10. So is B less than A?
Yes.
Is
Yes.
it true?
Yes.
The output will be 1. So if you multiply 0 by a 1, it will give you what? is 0. You see that? A 1 is 0, and a 1 will give you 0. Just like in this truth table, the 0 and the 1 is a 0. So I'm just showing how you can combine two expressions. The one expression, the first one is A equal to B and B less than A. So you combine them using the logical AND operator. Remember I said logical operators are used to combine two or more expressions. Okay? Then look at this now. I'm trying to this the first expression which I was showing you to see a simple expression to see how AND operator can be used to combine two expressions. The first expression is A with B, and the second one is B less than A. So the result of these expressions are being added together, and AND is the same as a multiplication. So the output of this will be a 0 because a 1 and 0 is a 0. Now, or before I go to that, this is the first example. The second example can be as long as this one here because you can see there is AND here and there's another AND here. Just like I said, a logical operator can be used to combine two or more expressions. Okay? Now, the result is going to be, first of all, let's find out what is this. Is A bigger than or greater than B? Is it true? Is A greater than B? Are you there?
Yes. Yes.
Is A?
Yeah, it's greater.
Yes.
Is A greater than B? Yes. So the output will be 1 for that. Okay. It is true. So if it's a true, like I said, in any expression, in a Boolean expression or in a truth table, if the result is true, then it means 1, or 1 means true, and 0 means false. So if it is true, then here we have a 1. There is this one here. This is not. This operator here, it means not. And you see, not is like the opposite of something. It converts something to its opposite. Just like last time I was making fun of, if you are a lady and you are subjected to this not operator, you become a man. And if you are a man and you are subjected to not operator, you become a lady, something like that. Okay? So if we have a not 0, it will give us a 1. And if you have a not 1, it will give us a 0. Okay? Do that. But now you can also use that not, combine it with this equal sign. You can write it here, the not, combined with equal sign, to mean not equal to. So this one here means not equal to. So this is not and then equal to. So this is not equal to. Now, look at this second part. This is B. B not equal to 10. B is what? B is 5, right? Is that correct? Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Please, and be keen on what I'm saying, because after this we are moving to the next thing. B not equal to 10. This second part here. B is 5. So we are saying B not equal to 10. It is 1, right? It is true, right? Because B is 5 and it's not equal to 10. Then this part is A. A is less than 5. Is it true?
No.
Is A less than 5?
No.
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 B?
No. No.
Oh. So you can see 1 times 1 times 0. The output will be what? The result will be given what?
0.
0. Because the first part, this is true, that A is greater than B. Someone wants to come in. These are late comers. It's an okay. The second part, B is equal to 10, which is true. And the last part, A less than 5, which is not true. So it will be 1 times, or 1 and 1 and 0. And the answer will be 0. Okay? Because 1 and 1 will give us a 1, and the 1 and 0 will give us a 0. So 0 will be the result here. Okay? Now, the second one, you can see how and, remember I said that logical operators are used to combine 2 or more expressions. This one expression, this the second expression, this the third expression. And using and, for example, you can see how they've been combined together. That is and. Now for or, you see, for an output to be 1, it means both must be 1. Okay? Both must be 1 for the output to be 1. Because you can see if one side is 1, the rest is 0. But for a not, or for a or operator, you can see the truth table for or. With or operator, one input, you only need one input to be 1. Because you always have 2 inputs. So one of them can be, and any of the 2 can be 1 to give 1 as an output. That's why you can see if both inputs are 0, the output is 0. But if one of them is a 1, then the rest is 1. You can see that. See that. If 1 and 1 or 1 is a 1, a 1 or 0 is a 1, the 1, the 0, and the 1 will give us a 1. So this is the difference between or and and. With the and, both for you to get 1 as an output, both must be 1. But with the or operator, you only need 1 to be input. Doesn't matter the other side whether it is 1 or a 0. The output will be 1. It will only be a 0 if both inputs are 0. Okay? So now look at this example here. A is 10 and B is 5. Is A greater than B?
Yes.
Yes.
So if this a true, a 1 is used to represent a true, then look at this sign here. The sign here is or. Is B equal to 4? What is B?
No.
5.
5.
It's equal to 4.
I don't know.
So 0 or
No.
a 1 or a 0 will give us what? A 1. See that? Because with all
Yes.
truth table, you only need 1. Because since you have 2 inputs, one of them must be 1 for you to have 1 as an output. Okay? But in case where you have both inputs are being 0, that's when you get 0 as output. But in this case, we have 1 and a 0. And since it is an OR, you get 1. Okay? So you can find an expression where you see the OR operators. Just like I said, logical operators are used to combine 2 or more expressions. Okay? And then the other one, which is the not. Not is just the opposite. So assuming that you have this, assuming that you have this expression like this, okay, and then you put it in bracket like that. What will be the output? Of course, when you apply BODMAS, the bracket starts. Brackets are higher precedence. We've seen that the branch of this operator is 1, right? Right?
Yes.
If you have not 1, then it gives us what? If. And if the output here was a 0, and then you subject it to a note, then it will give us what? 1. You can, it's all about playing around with this. Okay? So having all this in mind, which I believe you've written something here. I believe you've written something out of this. Because I said first, logical operators are used to combine 2 or more expressions. And we've
I have a
seen,
question.
yes,
Can you repeat where you have put then not?
yes, now you need to be key. Remember, initially, you were explaining this for the purpose of understanding the OR operator. Okay? We check whether is it true that A is greater than B, because A is 10 and B is 5. If it is true, the logical output here is a 1. Okay? Then you also checked, is B equal to 4? It's not true. B is 10, so B cannot be equal to 4. You see, this sign here means both sides are equal. So if B is 10 and 4, and the other side is 10, is 4. So they cannot be equal, right? It is a 0. So if you apply this OR, we say with an OR operator, you only need one of the inputs to be 1 for you to get a 1 as an output. Only one to be, only one side you need to have 1 as an input. Then the result will be 1. Like in this case, 1 is input. So the output of this will be 1. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, I want to use this example here to explain the note. So I modified this. I removed this like that. So assuming that we have this an expression, and then you put a bracket note like this. Remember I said a note converts something to its opposite side. Okay? If you put a note with 0, it will give you a 1. If you put a note to a 1, it will give you a 0. So the result of this expression, we found out that it is a 1. So if the note 1, what do you get?
0.
0. Is it clear now? Is it clear now?
0. Yes.
Yes. You got a question? You got a question? Now I hope you have this, and make sure you have this in mind, because what we're going to explain is revolving around the use of some of these operators. So I want to stop this expression so that I project another one. I want to stop this presentation so that I project another one. Remember, as I said, make sure at least you are writing something. It will help you to remember. And again, you are saying now, yeah, polypole. I don't know whether it's the net or my laptop, I don't know, but you also try to understand what I'm trying to say. Let me see the. Can you hear me now? Clear? Is it much better?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now I want to project another. Now, do you see that? Can you see that?
Yes. Yes.
Remember,
Yes.
the program we did was just a simple program to compare two numbers. But now, this is a case, a scenario whereby you want three numbers. Okay? As usual, the program starts. Someone asked me about this and I explained. So when you see there's a problem, you need to remove this void. And I said they are those who are serious and they are really learning a lot. Some of you see again when you ask me a question, don't expect that I just give you the direct answer. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to help you to see where maybe you went wrong. That is when you can learn. So if I ask you to check what you've done, don't get annoyed because that is if my the way if you ask me a question and then I just give you an answer that's direct like that, or if you give me a program to help you see where the error is and then I just point for you where the error is, you will not be able, you will not learn. But if I ask you, if I assist you to find the error, then it means even if you have a problem on your own, you can simply use the same practice to check where the problem is. Now this is the program, and I'm hoping that as you look at it, see in this case you want to capture three variables because you want to compare three numbers. So the first thing is to declare those three variables. That's a must. See that? These are the three variables which. So the first example, we were comparing two numbers, so we only had A and B. But now additionally, the third part of it. Now these numbers can be decimal numbers. That's why here I declare them as float. You can also use integers. The phrase is yours. You see floats, then it means they can try 3.6, 9.2, 5.6, 5.5, 0.1, something like that. This part will ask me to enter those numbers, right? And then in this second line, I can scan them at the same time in one line. Remember, someone asked me about this and I explained it. So I believe you understand when we write them in one line like this. Yeah? So I'll be able to scan for A, to B, and C. Yeah. Now, because we are still dealing with if, and if else part of it, because you have nested if statement. Because the simple if statement, if it is not this, then it is that. But the nested one is now whereby we check if it is not this, it is this other one, else it is this other part. The nested if statement is helping you to capture various considerations together. Like now there are three. If it is not A, then it is B. If it's not B, then it is C. So now you can see this first part here. And this is what I was explaining. Now A, if A, because remember I want us to compare these three numbers. Now the trick here is, pay attention to that. The trick here is take one of the variable and make it look like it's the bigger number. Pick any of the variable, like I've selected A. So I want to compare A and B, and I also compare A and C. So I want to assume that A is the bigger number. So is it bigger than B and also bigger than C? So if A is bigger than B, and remember this, if A is bigger than B, depending on what you capture here, if A is bigger than B and A is bigger than C, then automatically the biggest number is what? A.
A. B.
Remember, the trick here is to pick, you have three variables and you want to compare between them which is the biggest. So just pick one and use it and compare it with the rest. Pick one and compare it with the rest. So I picked one, I picked A. And I also compare it with C. So if A is greater than B and A is greater than C, then automatically the biggest number is what? The biggest number is what? Hey, are we together?
A.
Yeah.
Are people sleeping? Remember, I've picked A. We have three variables, A, B, and C. So I'm saying the trick is pick one, pick any. You can even start with B. You can even start with C. Okay? So, for me, I started with A. So I pick A and compare it with B, and then the same A I compare it with C. So if it is true that A is bigger than or greater than B, and A is greater than C, then automatically A is the biggest. See that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what I want you to be keen about is the use of this logical operator AND. Because we said a logical operator is used to combine two or more expressions. And the first expression is A is greater than B, and the second one is A is greater than C. So you can see how these two have been combined using this. But if this is not the case, because depending on what you captured as the value of A, if it is not true, then it will jump to the next else if part of it. Okay? Because if A is not greater than B and A is not greater than C, then it's either B and C is what? Bigger. So we want to find out. Okay? So now I want to check. Now we check B because we started with A, but because we are assuming that it's not true, so the control will move out of this if statement and jump to the second part, the else if part. Okay. Now, else if, remember, if it is not true, because if it is true, then it will print that the bigger number is what? It's A. But if it's not true, it jumps to the next else if. So now we pick B. Now the same is going to apply to both A and C. Now we want to compare, we want to check whether it's B greater than A and B greater than C. So if B is greater than A and B is greater than C, then automatically the biggest value is what? B. And if that is not the case again, then the largest value is C. You don't need now to test again. Because you started by you picked A, you compared with B, and A compared with C. Okay? Then the second part, you compared B to A and B to C. If these two conditions are not met, then automatically the largest value becomes what? C. Any question?
I have a question.
Yes.
In the other programs, the previous programs,
No
we used to,
programs, the previous program, because remember we did in so many programs. So which one are you referring to?
the one that we used to use int main. At the end, we put return 0. And this one we used void. Remember, we put a
I've removed it. Someone asked me about this last time. These are the things you need to be worrying about when you're writing a program. You don't say I said you remove all you, but if you do your own reading, like someone asked me this. Because if you put void, sometimes the program will not run. If you are really serious with your readings, then you should find out, for example, if you use void main and the program is not running, you ought to find out maybe to find to check the meaning of this void. If you put it void, or what's the difference between void main and int main? You'll definitely see what we're talking about here. In most cases, if you put void, the program will not run. So you are advised in most cases to use int, because you expect, for example, the program to return an integer value, or for this case it's a float, so maybe you can just leave it like that. These are things when you are now running your program, you deliberately bring in the int main or the void main and run the program and see how is it behaving. You will see the error message at the end of the compiler. Down there you see it's giving you some message, error messages related to are they together?
yes.
Good to see now I'm trying to talk about it. Someone is not here. We'll ask the same question again like next time. Any other question?
Yes.
Yes.
What about the use of opening and closing curly before you
Speak
introduce?
loud. Speak loud. Speak loud.
I'm asking
Yes.
the use of opening and closing curly before you
Opening
introduce
hand.
the printf.
I can't hear you well. Opening hand.
Opening and closing curly braces before you introduce the printf function.
Closing.
Calibri.
This one here. Yes.
No,
Ladies.
You know you're alone there, so you should not shy away from talking loud.
okay, I'm saying,
Go ahead.
hello,
I'm listening to you. Go ahead. I'm listening to you.
I'm asking the opening and the closing calibri in this program, like when we use the else and if, some programs have many opening and closing calibri in between.
You know, there is that you talk about opening and closing something, and that is what I'm not getting. That's what I'm saying.
Calibri.
Calibri or cali bracket.
Those ones, yeah.
Bracket, somebody can.
You are pronouncing it like a shosho. So what are you asking now? What are you saying? Or can someone assist her to ask that question? If someone is getting, because I can't hear what she's asking.
Msichana uliza
Yes.
kwa hizi programs za else
Programs are
if and else, you find zingine ziko na hizo curly braces in between the program, especially before you introduce the printf function.
You see, programs are different, so it depends with which program you're talking about. So you cannot say that that program must be the same as this. See, like now we are talking about if-else statement. Previously, we've been writing a simple program to find the area of a circle, circumference, the use of modular, and so on and so forth. So they are quite different from this, but there are some similarities because of the use of printf and scanf. But my question is, do you understand the logic, what we're trying to do here? Because that is the main question you should be talking about. Mambia brackets is something which you should not be asking now. Are you understanding what we are talking about here?
Yeah.
You see, it is here because it is here you are copying, you're going to write it, and then now, if you are left alone without anything, are you able to write such? Because supposing, because now these are three numbers. If again I add the fourth number, if I add the fourth number, then you will test for else if. If, for example, I add the fourth number like this, add here, these are four numbers. So it means this part is what is the part I'm going to repeat like that. So you see, the first one was then B, and then this will be now C. And here will be E greater than A, and B greater than.
Hello, sir. No excuse, huh?
Yes.
I have a question, huh?
See, now you are now interrupting because I was trying to.
Yeah. It's just confused since I remember in the previous programs, huh? You said that ulisema what means there's nothing. So about the output, nani hapa kutakuwa na output?
What?
Ulisema ukitumia the void mean, eh?
Yes.
It means there's nothing, eh? Kwa nini sasa hizi
program you have
so
error. Most cases the program has error. So you are asked to avoid using void.
Yeah, juu sioni hapa kama kutakuwa na output.
Why?
Juu tukitumia void basi noise that it means kuna into the sum of these variables.
But you see what I said. Now, if I put void like that, you go the way it is, but remember what I said. So during program execution, those are the things which should come in your mind. Are you together?
We are together.
Yes. So that one way you see when you run this program with the void, you see it is giving you some errors mentioning about the void. And remember what I said about void. So the best thing you need to do is to remove it like that. Save the program and run it again. Do you remember that?
No, so instead of using void, you can still use int.
You can still use int, but sometimes it may, because if you use int and yet here we declare these variables as float, using it is another problem.
Yeah.
So those are the things you should come in your mind. See, I did the Sawa. Because it's the same, then that is not the way you reason about it. This sometimes I might write around in here, but you are able to identify it. Then you correct it. You just write it because I've written like that. Are you together? So sometimes I might type something which is wrong, and you can see, you can detect that it is wrong. You just correct it. And that's why you can also go and find out when you use int main and void main. You get something close to what you're talking about. And because in most cases use age. In most cases. But in Qatar here you also need to remove that and see if it can run without that. That's how. Are you together now?
Yes.
Another question. Remember, you interrupted me when I wanted to mention something about if you have 4 numbers. So you started by you compare 4 numbers. Now you compare 3 numbers. Now your work, when you run this program now, and then I think of a way when you have now 4 numbers. If you just follow this sequence, you will not have problems. You will struggle, but you will not struggle so much. Of course, you can see the sequence here. You start by A, you compare with the rest. B, you compare with the rest. If not F for coming, then now C you don't need to compare because already C has been compared. See that? See, now you don't need to compare C again because C has been compared with B and A. If these two are not meeting, if they don't meet the criteria, then it means the largest value is C. Same manner, after you've done this, now I'm making it clear. Someone will, some people will say I did not say anything. Now I'm saying, once you've done this, and then I think of if you have 4 numbers. Is it clear?
Yes.
So there's also fear doing these things, and when they are asked, they say kusema, because they don't want to do it. But now I'm saying, do this, which I've given you. Now, can you modify it so that you compare 4 numbers? That way. So it will be else if, another else if again. Because the first else if will be B, the second else if will be C. So D will automatically be the biggest if the first 3 are not. Yes. Any question? Vanessa, Nyaga, can you ask a question?
Sure, can I ask a question?
Yeah, can you go ahead, Susan? Give Susan.
Yeah, I was asking, in this program, some of the statements have else if, and one of the last else does not have an if. Is it a must you put the if?
The first one is if it is not true, then else if comes into play. See? If not true, then another else if. Then the last one will be now if.
So the last one should not have
That's
any
what I
hue.
was saying, that since C has been compared, you see, you only have else if you want to make a comparison, okay? But remember, C and D has been compared, C and B has been compared. Okay?
Thank you.
You see, that's what I wanted to ask, that's what I wanted to do when I introduce another variable, so that if there are four, meaning that down here before this, I will have another else if to compare C and the rest. Then D will automatically be there. You see that? Is it clear?
Yes.
You see, we start. You see, it is an if. Else, okay? So the first if is just comparing between AB and AC. But if it's not true, then now else if comes in. So we can have as many else if as possible as we continue testing, even if we have 10 different numbers. So we have around 8 else if. Okay? Because the first and the last is just the first is the if and the last one is else without if. Because when you say else if, it means now you want to test another one. Like in this case, if there were 4, maybe you had D here, and this statement does not meet the criteria, then we go to else if, then C is greater than the rest. And if it is not true, then else, the last one is the largest value. Meaning that now we reach the end of comparison, so we don't need to compare anything. So that last value becomes the largest value. That question is very important. You need to think about it and the rest, because it will help you when you are now trying to compare 4 numbers. That question which has been asked is important, because the last, you are not testing anything anymore. We are not comparing A, C, because C has been compared with B and C has been compared with A. So there is nothing to compare C with again. That's why we have else. C becomes A. But you see, when you compare A greater than B and A greater than C, if it's not true, then else if another comparison. Okay? So now you have to compare B with the rest. And if it's not true, then C now becomes the automatic. But if there's another number again to compare, then you could have else if, see that, until there is no more comparison. So that question is very important. It is going to help you in writing the next. Any other question? Because in the next lesson we are going to check now another control structure. We are winding up the else if now. So what is left for you now to practice using this else and else if? Like you're going to write this program, you're going to modify this to compare 4. You can even think of 5. See that. Now that is practicing. Then this, make sure you draw the flow chart. Are we together? Are we together?
Yes.
Are we together?
Yes.
Yes.
In each and every control structure, you must draw a flowchart. And every control structure, you must draw what? Flowchart. So we have explained it. We saw the syntax and how the syntax can be applied in a program using a simple if statement, then the nested if else. Now your work is to describe the if and if else statement, write the syntax and draw the flowchart, and then the sample program. So those are 4 things. You describe that statement, make sure you have the syntax, draw the flowchart, and then write a simple program to explain it. Is it clear?
Yes.
Pardon?
If you're not getting, then ask your member to tell you, because I've repeated it more than twice. But don't say I did not say anything like that. I've said you describe that statement. If it is if it is else, describe it, write the syntax, draw the flowchart, and then the simple program like we've done right now. So. Is it clear?
Yes.
Because next time
Yeah.
we'll go to something else. So please make sure you look back where we've come from. All the programs we've done, can you revisit them and try to understand them? Try to understand them. Because majority are not attending classes. And you never know. You don't know when this curfew will be lifted. You don't know when you will be resuming. So if you are thinking you will have time to revisit this in class, in a physical classroom, then you are lying to yourself. Right now, nobody knows what is going to happen next. So treat everything as if it is a normal class, and there's many other class again. There are people who've never attended this class at all, because they think you will have time to. You will be told to register for exam in November. What will you do? You will not have time to revisit all these things. Now, so is it clear?
Yes.
You get a question? Is Kambarage in? You get a question? So you can stop them if you don't have any question.
Mnifollow pale Instagram mazee.
Niambie usare hizo Instagram zako. Kuna vile tutakufollow.
Wewe naye Vanessa tu nakwanga mtiaji.
Tutakufollow.
Acha za ovyo ovyo, acha ovyo ovyo.
Ni kufollow Instagram.
Unajua na mimi story stuff.
Sawa sawa. Unaongea vipi?
Kazi imeisha.
Nashangaa hata. Mimi sijachota kitu bro.
Unasema
Nataka okay.
ati nini?
Baadaye kesho niko na form. Watu wenye wako Thika wameno niko na form.
Ipo mpaka ile siku tutarudi.
Form gani bro?
Kana kabashi fulani na mimi. Hey. Patane clinic.
Gani anakuja?
Kutakuwa na bogi inaitwa Scavengers, Limpid na Amsogo. Alafu kutakuwa na Tuesday, Bones. Alafu kutakuwa na Bisodi, Sangia Bisodi. Kuna masala huko.
Tambui lakini nakuja.
Niko na sikizangi gengeton nyinyi.
Mimi sisikizangi zote.
Alafu wale kwa Dex ni DJ Tuesday atakuwa wakiwa na DJ mwingine hapo DJ. Hadi nimemtoa tu jana. Kwa Dex na DJ Tuesday.
Wewe sasa.
Wangu ingia ni Driso au Tatamu. Scenic.
Sam
Scenic.
Takuwa unfortunately.
Maneno mingi.
Siwezi fika hata nikitakanga. Sijatuma ile assignment ya Wesad. Tamba tume by 5.
Ati? Nikutumia answer. Mimi nafanya moja tu.